Hey, I'm Hilary Duff from Lizzie McGuire, and you're watching Disney Channel.
Hey guys, it's Steven.
Hey, and I'm Kyle.
And welcome to our channel. We are on episode 4 of Drag Race UK, and this was another good episode, so let's get the fuck into it. So, mini challenge. The girls had to sell cakes from a table full of cakes.
Yeah.
And who was a stand-up to you?
So there was a couple, but I think my number one was definitely Bimini.
Yeah, oh my god, that was so fucking funny.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that kind of like Nigella Lawson vibe that she had.
I still need a bit of milk, full fat, which I've warmed in the microwave.
It was very kind of like, oh, these Belgian buns.
Not Belgian buns.
Brexit buns. Yeah, sorry.
Which I
Name
thought
change.
which I thought was such a like original take on the idea of a.
Although I've never heard them be called Belgian buns before. Before that, I thought they were called iced buns.
I mean, it must be a American thing because I never heard them call that. But again, Bimini did.
I liked how she interacted with the boys as well.
Yeah.
Like she kind of like fed into them. So like when she was doing it, she was obviously doing it to the other girls, but she would be like to them, and they were like laughing, which was like funny.
And who's going to complain about the scent of pussy wafting through the house when they come in?
I thought Lauren's was kind of funny, and I thought
Tia
was funny.
Oh, Tia, I feel like this was like Tia's redemption episode. She was so funny.
I may or may not have some nice things to say about Tia this week. I know.
Shock. But her like listing off all the ingredients and the additives, and then suddenly she went to CNN,
BBC Three.
I was like, girl, you clever.
Girl, you clever.
So, main challenge: the girls have to take part in a daytime TV show called
Morning Glory.
Not to be confused with
Glory Hole. That was the mumsiest joke ever. Like Lorraine Kelly is like.
No, it's a no.
It was just so like, you know when you're like at your friend's house and your mum tried, it was very like Regina George's mum, where it was like, I know gay things.
She's like, you
glory
guys
hole.
keep- yeah.
That's like, you used to do that, right? It's like,
no one uses glory
no, baby,
holes.
no.
They're just fucking person.
Yeah.
So
I'm just muttering like nonsense here. So I was like, what?
So first pairing was Taste and Bimini as Gen Z hosts. What were your thoughts?
I actually really liked them together. I will say there was like a kind of like common thread, I feel like, with the ones who were in teams. I feel like there was two teams who worked well together because there would be the kind of like, there'd be like the person who was like the grounded one, the one who kind of like kept, there was a Stephen, there was the person who kind of kept like the questions and the things going, and then there was a person who kind of bounced off the other one.
So basically there was the one who sets the other one up for the joke.
That's funny, tell another one!
I think Bimini was the strongest one out of the pair though,
Yeah.
like, especially with her like, with the cards upside down and then her sliding off, like literally sliding straight off the couch for no reason whatsoever. I thought that was hilarious. And Taste was there and Taste did her thing. And
But this is what I'm saying though, Taste was funny with her, like when they were doing like the slut drop thing and stuff, it was funny, their energy was great. It was just that Bimini was the kind of like,
Bimini was
the star.
Bimini was the Nicole
I can relate.
of the group.
Oh, I was like, Nicole. And then I was like, oh.
Hilton, Paris and Nicole.
Oh. I thought you meant Nicole was in the Pussycat Dolls. We've got our gay references all fucked up.
No, you're on a different. No.
Hush, hush.
Next pairing, Veronica and Sister.
If I could put in a sound effect for that, it would just be
Tumbleweed. It was bad. It was bad.
But do you know what's worse as well though? Like, obviously, I know I'm not a huge singer of praises about Veronica. However, at least Veronica that she has a bit of a self-awareness about things, right? Which is good, and I think you need to have that when you do these kind of things. Because I think Tia also has that as well, to credit her as well. She was self-aware enough to realise that she was doing shit.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, you had Sister, who was completely fucking delusional to the fact that she was doing even worse than Veronica, but then seemed to like jump at the opportunity that as soon as Veronica was like, oh, but you did well.
Yeah.
No, but she didn't do well. So don't try and feed into that mentality that she was, because then, as we seen later, we got Sister being like, yeah, you kind of fucked me up. No, baby.
No,
you fucked yourself up.
Yeah.
Because if you came to rose to the occasion, you could have maybe saved the two of you, because if you actually did really well, Veronica could have maybe bounced off you.
Yeah.
Similarly to how we said that, like with Tace and Bimini.
Yeah.
Tace and maybe another pairing might have
failed,
like bombed, but because she could bounce off of Bimini, it worked really well.
It's almost similar to like in when they do the roast and someone bad comes on and then you have someone good come after them. It's very easy to then pick up the energy after someone's been bad, because you can turn it around and really be like, oh, this person was horrible, wasn't she crap, and like make a joke out of it and reset the whole like energy in the room. And Sister didn't do that. She just decided to feed into this negative train of thought that, oh, Veronica was shit, so if I'm shit, it's Veronica's reason why I am shit.
Yeah, it's very easy to like just pass blame.
Yeah.
And I just think that like you need to take accountability for the fact that you didn't perform well, which is fine. Although the only thing that I will add very quickly is Sister is just fading into the background for me. I'm like,
okay, next girl.
oh,
You said very quickly, so I gave you 5 seconds. Is that all?
yeah, she's fading into the background for me. Didn't realise what that was.
It was a countdown.
Okay.
Next,
Beyonce.
next pairing, Ellie and Lauren as the drag nieces.
Niece is weird. I mean, Ellie, yes. It said in the brief, preschool aesthetic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't like, and as somebody who went to preschool in Scotland, I don't recall fucking anyone looking like
Ellie or Lauren.
Well, no, Ellie maybe, well, not with that hair, but at least it was in bunches. What was Lauren's doing?
The thing, there was a disconnect between the two of them. One was dressed as this like old matronly woman.
It was like
older matronly woman, not old.
it was like drag and drag niece, which didn't make any sense together, unless that's what it was intentionally supposed to be. But that's not what was scripted.
That was not what was scripted, and also that's not what came across.
Yeah.
So if that
Yeah, it
was
wasn't
their
like, oh,
intention-
come on, head.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it wasn't like that. I did laugh at Lawrence, but I just don't think he stuck to like the script or the brief.
Gary, she's changing the words.
And I do think that sometimes Lawrence seems to get away with that in judging that others perhaps wouldn't. Because I think obviously Rue has a soft spot for Lawrence, which obviously we've seen. So I do think that he got away with not nailing it.
I think
Not to say that he was funny, but
Lawrence was the strongest out of the two, for sure. It was also funny in the workroom when they did their walkthrough and Rue was speaking to both of them. And Ellie then pipes up.
do I have something on my face?
Ellie has her pearl moment where she's like, why do you pronounce Lawrence's name with a Scottish accent but not mine?
Yeah.
And I think Rue was a bit taken aback, like,
I never found you funny. I never found you entertaining. I never found you smart. I just found you annoying.
bitch, are you gonna tell me what to do on
What? On my show?
on my
In
TV?
front of all these people?
Girl, no.
I'm surprised you didn't just see like a hook.
Girl, you brave girl, because most girls wouldn't. And
Ellie, you in danger, girl.
Molly, you in danger, girl.
watch Ellie end up in the bottom 2 next week. Spoiler.
See,
No,
to be
I
fair,
don't
though-
know. I don't know.
See, in her defense though, there does seem to be this kind of like difference in how they're both treated. That like Lauren's, it's like Lauren's brought up the whole in the previous episode about like, oh, why do you make fun of my accent and not Ellie's? Although I will say that Lauren's hams up his accent.
And hammers it
That's
the fact
not-
that she's from Scotland.
Yeah.
Constantly.
So you kind of get the cards that you're dealt, like, and it's, I've previously said as well that like, I am starting to find it a little bit grating, the whole like, hello, hey, okay. It's like, it's funny when you use it to like, when it's necessary, because then it means that it doesn't become one note, which again, I'm surprised that that's not been fed back as well, because like, if you imagine if like Tace was constantly like coming in and doing like Welsh things, Welsh, and you'd be like, oh,
yeah, it goes
right,
the Welsh
okay.
Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why it's not happening with Lauren's, and so that's probably why Ellie's a bit like. But then I suppose it's maybe a testament to the fact that Ellie's maybe being more herself.
Yeah. But it's also the fact that also
Also the fact that yeah,
it's the fact that also
yeah.
Lawrence's
it's also the fact.
Lawrence's accent is also great on some of the girls in the room. Case in point, when they re-entered the workroom.
Is that a fact?
It is a fact.
Also.
When they re-entered the workroom and Lawrence would not stop talking, and at one point Ginny looked like she's gonna smack the shit out of Lawrence. Because Lawrence just interrupts and then her voice is just so
That might just be a
overbearing.
Scottish thing though, like
True.
relatable content!
True. She's overbearing and talks too much.
Stocks.
Yeah. So next pair, Tia and Ahora as Essex money experts.
Winner!
The both of them together were amazing.
So, like the Bimini and Tace dynamic that we had, where there was like a stronger person, but also somebody who kept them tethered, Ahora won this whole episode for me, which there will be some debate and discussion later.
No, she did the best.
No, but I mean later.
Oh.
But Ahora for me literally nailed it. Hilarious. Like I literally was like barely laughing. Like couldn't breathe. It was so funny. Like her characterization was just perfect.
She was dumb.
The like it was the everything was just so funny.
And then when she like sat there like and then pushed her tits were out the whole time. I don't even think she noticed, or she said she didn't notice. And then, did you not notice that her suit was like orange?
Covered in fake tan.
In fake tan. Like everything was just like so like perfect. And Tia was great as well. Like don't get me wrong, Tia was amazing. And Tia really committed to the role as well.
Yeah.
But Ahora just like
Sparkles! I like sparkles! I was like
1 second. Is this the sparkle?
It's sparkle.
Oh my god, I love sparkle! Sparkle titties, oh my god.
it was just dumb and stupid and
hilarious.
I was here for it.
Yeah.
Like totally committed, should be committed.
Yeah.
Funny. Last person, because she was alone, was Ginny as a hippie weather girl. To Ginny's credit, she stuck with this Aussie accent.
You're on a British daytime TV show and you picked, like, I'm not mad at her trying something different, right? However, it just didn't have any correlation with the narrative of what they were doing.
I think for that, I give her credit.
There was no weather either, like it just literally, it made no sense. It literally, it was not tethered to any sense of reality within anything, like,
it was just not the one.
Yeah, it just wasn't there. But, whatever.
Runway. Runway time! My favorite time of the week. My favorite part of the episode, Runway. Category is Monster Mashup. And can we just talk about Ru for 1 second? Again.
Say your piece.
I speak for everyone who likes Drag Race.
I think Very quickly,
I thought we weren't
this is
friends,
a...
I thought.
Sorry. I did say that I wasn't going to promise. This is Astina's PA in this moment. And Astina would like to make an announcement, a public announcement through the medium of Stephen.
Stephen, yeah. So, rude, one word. Rude. First of all, you eliminate...
Second word, shoulders.
Yeah, rude and shoulders. You eliminate Astina for having a manly silhouette. So bitch said, you know what? I'ma show you how to do a broad shoulder and a
I'ma
lifted
come as a
waist.
fucking American footballer.
Straight up, I'm surprised she managed to make it through because those
That would be
shoulders...
funnier
were
if she tried to come round the corner and she's like...
She had to come in sideways. Dead. But no, she looked good. The colour was amazing. Again.
I sort of wish it had a belt. I just think that it would have broken it up a little bit. I think like a nice little like black velvet, because it was a very 80s, like obviously very exaggerated 80s aesthetic, but like a nice little like black velvet belt, maybe with like a little like rhinestone like buckle. I would just been like cute. It would have just finished it off and like kind of tied it in a little bit more. Personally, that's just a personal thing.
Maybe guys, you can Cal will put an image in here and then you can vote whether it was better with or without belt. I'm saying without because Rude always looks good. There we go. So first girl up was Veronica as this like pig Medusa mashup.
It was okay.
I loved it.
It wasn't my favourite, but I really liked the headpiece. I thought it was like, because it was
Headpiece
so
was
exaggerated, which was great.
And Veronica, I will say, the past couple of runways, Veronica's really like done things that I didn't expect her to do.
Her
And
runways
this is
are
one of the things.
a bit like, you know, shocking sometimes because you're like, oh, okay. Like, I wouldn't have thought this little like quiet, like,
From you.
actually she's not that quiet to be
No.
honest. The one thing I will say as well though is, I'm glad that she took on my critique of wearing more makeup. Wasn't quite what I had in mind.
But
However,
we
we gotta start where, you know,
with the lips.
Yeah.
That's where she started. Next girl, sister in this like mummy blue creature hybrid thing. And you can tell it wasn't good because he's shaking his head and I'm trying to find excuses for it because it was bad. Just bad.
Do you know what the worst part of it all was?
There's a worse part.
Well, the worst contributing factor. What in god awful hell was that of blue hair that was on top of her head? I have more
Wisp of
pubes
blue hair.
than like that. Like I was like,
Go why?
ah. It was just a.
It made no sense.
You couldn't have found a bigger piece than that. Nobody owned.
No.
I just a what? No.
Next girl was Bimini as this like devil playboy bunny hybrid.
I enjoyed this. I thought it was good. I enjoyed that she did the prosthetics and stuff. The only thing I didn't really like was on the top half anyway was she didn't hide the bunny ears. So you had like the headband outside of the, so you know how she had the bald cap and everything, which was a great attention to detail that she wanted to sort of like have this kind of like creepy like, you know, hair at the back of her head thing. It's quite like, yeah, it's quite weird as well, which I really enjoyed. I just wish the ears had been tucked inside the wig.
Yeah.
It was cute.
It was cute for taste, not for swallow.
See, I do think it was one of the visually strongest on the runway.
Did it do the assignment?
Yeah.
Half.
Next.
It was a soft yay.
That was Steven's attempt at trying not to say a soft toot.
It was a
so
soft,
that we don't get another copyright infringement from
It was
him.
a soft yes, but not yes. If you get what I mean.
It was a yeah.
Yeah.
Without this.
It was a yeah. So next girl up on the runway is Taste as this like Bride of Frankenstein.
Which is one of my favorite
Hybrid-y thing. Again, I'm using the word hybrid because I don't know what the bitch is trying to give, but...
Oh, Scream, when she literally, I was like, oh, is it, I thought it was mashup, and then she went, and I was like, the fangs is the mashup.
Wait, there were fangs?
Yeah. With more blood. I will say, I think she brought one blood capsule to Drag Race with her, and I think she used half of it in the red look, and the other half she saved for this week.
And she's fucked for the rest of the season.
Yeah, just better hope that there's not like a, I don't know, a serial killer challenge or something, but whatever. I really liked this. I really liked that dress. That kind of like white puffed gown gave me very much a kind of like Victor and Rolf doobie dress thing, which I was like, camp. The hair was fab. I just thought it was a bit... She looked gorgeous.
As usual.
I'm kind of getting a bit tired though of like saying about certain queens that like, you know when you can't find it, you're like, well, she looked good.
She did look good. The dress looked nice. And just like Tay said to Tia, girl, I'm gonna need you to step. I'm gonna need you to see over this shit and level up because...
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Because what you're giving me right now is not the level that I, as the #1 supporter of your fan account, sees that you are capable of. Because right now you're giving me flatline, and I need you to be giving
Sugar babes.
You mean Magia Keisha Siobhan?
Sure. MKS.
Yeah, MKS. Next up was Ginny, and I can't even describe
Bye.
what she's meant to be. It was just...
What was it? What was it?
She was toxic.
Explain it to me.
She was toxic waste.
It was a waste of a runway.
It was, oh, girl.
It just didn't, like, where...
There was no monster.
There was no monster.
At all.
Yeah, no.
No.
And that cheap plastic, and I mean plastic wig that she had on.
It was,
I did enjoy that she spray painted the toxic sign onto the hair though. I did like that because it kind of gave me a bit of like a, do you remember when Lil Kim used to spray paint on
Chanel
Fendi and stuff like that onto it and the Versace logos? It was kind of like...
Yes, because Lil Kim did that all herself.
You don't know her life. She might have been on a bunch.
I miss her old face.
Yeah.
Next
R.I.P. Lil Kim's
R.I.P.
face.
Talking about faces, next up, Lawrence Chaney with a like Sweeney Todd, the Bride of Frankenstein, leather face mashup. And I will say before she slates her, Lawrence was one of the best ones at doing the assignment this week.
Okay,
Continue.
I didn't start.
Keep it brief.
No, shan't. I liked it. I just thought... I sort of wish that the dress was floor length, like a gown. I feel like it would have been a bit creepier, a bit more sadistic. I didn't really particularly like the red tights with it either. I maybe think that was so that it kind of contract, like if she had bare legs, or not bare legs, but like nude legs, it maybe would have clashed, like you would have lost part of the dress. I think that's maybe why, it was so that it stood out a bit more. I also think you wouldn't have had to do that if you had the gown. I also think that like her face thing on her arm was cute, but it didn't really make any sense to just have it dangling off her arm. So I feel like if it was a gown, it would have been cooler if like when she turned round, there was kind of like that reveal of like the faces, or a face, like her face, or like on the back, like whether it was on her arse or like, you know, like down the back. Like she could have had like, you know, like when you turned round, there was like a full on like arm.
Oh no, dear, I don't need a hand. I need a face.
So she should, like, just like at the front of her garment, she had like
the ears and stuff.
Nose. She could have had different parts of the human body. Yeah, that would have been cute.
I would like to see it.
And again, I know that like time constraints, money, all this stuff is all part of it. So I did enjoy it. It just wasn't my favourite, and I don't think she deserved to win for where we get to. But she looked beautiful, and like we've said it time and time again. Well, minus 1 week. She pads well.
The body's always on point.
But the face was like a little bit like, I liked the attention to detail with the rhinestones and stuff, but like the face wasn't very monstrous either.
I think her natural face. her face attached to her body.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the reference was that face that she had on her arm was her face that she had taken off.
But then why didn't you do like, I'd seen that as well, but then I don't understand why you wouldn't then like make your face look as if it was like bloody.
peeled off, yeah.
Like, as if, like...
I mean, time restraints, girl. You do what you do with the time that you got, and she did.
You do what you do and you get what you get.
And you got what you got from the time that she had given. So it's a yes for me.
For me.
Next up was Ellie as this like werewolf, swampy. I'm now reaching because I can't even remember what she was trying to serve. But I will say, sis loves the same silhouette.
Oh, bitch loves her pussy being out.
And
it's like she always has a hot pussy.
she needs to air
This
her.
pussy's on fire.
She needs to air her puss, clearly.
Air your pussy.
Because clearly that pussy is moist or damp or heated.
Swampy. Swamp pussy.
So I will commend her on knowing a silhouette that works for her and sticking to her.
Well, you've said this before about, I can't remember who it was you said, but like, it's the Bianca Del Rio effect, isn't it? I also, like, so when it's the dresses, when it was the gowns that she's worn the kind of champ version of, I actually don't mind them on her because I do think that they're very flattering because they're also like body tight. I wish queens would stop wearing chaps. Like, it looks shit on Monet Exchange and it looks shit on her. For some reason, it sort of like gives this, it like truncates their legs and it makes them look really wide. Like, it looked as if she had like fucking like elephantitis.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for
elephantitis. Yeah,
No. You did not shine bright like a diamond. Sorry.
Yeah, it was like shine bright like coal.
Next up, Tiara Coffee as the best she's ever looked. Not, girl. I guess spending time at Ahora really rubs off because this is her best look so far, by far.
I will say, I will give credit where credit is due. She looked bomb this week. Like, that calm.
Yeah.
It was just fab.
From
like,
head to toe.
Yeah, like the waist singe, like, it was just like the kind of like voodoo high priestess vibe that we had.
Where was this bitch? Where did you pull her from? Because...
Oh yeah, I was like, so wait, she's...
You had that, and you gave me...
Maybe if we interpret it, remember when she said, I've got my worst looks out of the way, my worst 3 looks? Maybe what she meant to say was 3 episodes is what she meant to say. Maybe she meant to say, I got my... Yeah, I see what you did, bitch, you guys!
You got me,
You got me, gal!
I got me, gal!
You got me good.
So maybe that's what it is. But
well,
she did well.
The only way is
serve.
It was a whole serve.
You just got served.
So I am happy for you. Last up is Miss Ahora. Yay! Miss Ahora. Miss Ahora. Miss Ahora.
Would you like me to go first?
No, I will say.
Say it. With your chest.
The bitch looked good. I can't take that away from her. The looks are always on point. My back is killing me. The looks are always on point. The makeup is always on point. The fashion is always on point. The hair is on point. That's all. I got 0 monster. 0.
0, 0, 0, die!
I loved Ahora's look. I loved her like Elvira and Vegas like reference. There was also kind of like a slight reference to like Cher as well, like in Moonstruck, which I thought was kind of camp as well. I feel like Ahora's like kind of similar to how Aquaria is, that like, you know how you get these girls who are very educated in their references, which is something that obviously like I've spoken about before, which is very important when it comes to drag, and it's something that Ru looks for, and I think it doesn't go like unnoticed with Ru. Like I think he really like appreciates a girl when like
she knows her stuff.
Yeah.
And she can reference well.
Yes, and when they do it well as well. I loved the look. I liked where she was kind of playing up the whole like dislocated jaw and like, you know, she had the little like funny eye and stuff. Then the wig reveal I thought was a great gimmick. I agree that like had she not done that, it probably wouldn't have been as great, but she looked fucking beautiful. So similarly to how Tace did Bride Frankenstein and was gorgeous, and she did like the super pretty like beauty face. I feel like that's because if you look at the old Hollywood films, Hollywood female monsters were always still gorgeous. Now, contrary to that, where like the other queens maybe picked like male monsters and did like drag versions of it, which is great, and it's a great interpretation to try and do that. I think what Tace and Ahora did, which obviously it is probably because they still see themselves as we're beautiful, so we don't want to do hideous. So they've probably, when they've been looking for references, they've picked the pretty things, which I don't think is necessarily wrong. So I just think that Ahora's like look was very much kind of like that kind of like gorgeous, very like 40s like lingerie, and like just for me it was, and I think because of how fucking perfect she was in the challenge, I think she deserved that win, and I do not think that Lawrence deserved it, which I know I've skipped a little bit. So over to you, Stephen. Back to you in the studio.
Back to me to roast Ahora some more. To her credit, no, actually not to her credit. What I will say as well, dislocating your jaw does not make you a monster. And what she should have done, if that was the character choice.
Well, it works for me when it makes me a cock monster and I dislocate my jaw.
When was the last time you dislocated your jaw for anyone? Exactly. So, as I was saying, dislocating your jaw does not make you a monster, Ahora. And if that was your character that you chose to go with, doing it for just 2 seconds on the runway is not good enough. What she should have done, if it was me doing this, was continue with the dislocated jaw, carry it over to critiques, and then when the judges come to her, she can then like keep it dislocated and kind of like go back into like being pretty.
Okay, yeah, so I will literally give you that one thing that would have been kind of like funny, but then also nobody else was like still in character on the runway. Like you didn't have anybody else who was like, you know.
But at the same time, none of them came out in pretty drag.
Tace did.
So, but Tace was safe when she got her
yeah, I know,
critique.
and I get
so,
that, but
like, I wouldn't expect Veronica to go into like to act like a pig when she was on the runway for critique. So I don't expect Veronica to do that. But if you're gonna come out in pretty drag, like Ahora did, you need something to like translate to the theme that you're trying to give. And she didn't do that.
I just think like there always seems to be this push of trying to change queens from what they are. Now you've put them on the show for what they can do.
Present, yeah.
I get that sometimes push them out of comfort zone slightly, but like Ahora is going to be like the fashion queen, so she's going to give you a fashion interpretation of monster, and I just think, and I do still think it was monsterate enough for her to still take that win. And I do think that like Lawrence was funny, but Lawrence was definitely not as good in the challenge, and his look was not like so show-stopping. Yes, I agree that you say that like he maybe hit a brief, like ticked a couple boxes a little bit more.
All the boxes.
But I do not think that it warranted a win. And that's on theory.
Well, the decision is Rue's to make, and he made the decision not to award Ahora the win. And to argue with that is to argue with Rue.
And you know I have no problem arguing with no person.
So you're gonna argue with a black man?
I'm arguing with one right now.
True, and you ain't gonna win.
And just like that, Stephen got edited out of this video.
Wow. Every single week that an episode has come out, you have gone and dragged my name for no apparent reason.
It isn't unfounded, Stephen. She hasn't just literally, like as soon as she walked in the room going, her.
Basically.
No, because they've all, literally, the week previous, the entire room all voted her basic.
Not the entire room, the majority.
Well, apart from Veronica,
The
apparently.
majority.
So anyway, let's speed through this. We get the lip sync. Sister versus Ginny. Go.
Bye, Jenny. I mean, we already knew that it was sort of coming. I have to say that I found it quite funny that from knowing the inside tea that we had found out, the edit did not showcase what we had been told.
What we know.
So what we had known to be true was not showcased. So, I mean, she went out on like a good note.
On her note.
I do think though that she should have still partaken in the lip sync and just thrown it. I think it's almost a bit disrespectful. Even I also find it a bit disrespectful to sister. Because it sort of like then leaves you on a note of, am I here because you left?
Or am I here because I did a good job? But
Yeah.
I won't know if I did a good job
Because you'll never know.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you were still so in your moment that you were like, oh, I want to go home, I don't want to lip sync against a friend, then you could have just done a half-hour's
Do a
job.
Tammy Brown and just wave and dance, do a jig,
Charlie
do a Victoria
Hines.
Beckham point.
I just think it was a little bit like,
Rude.
she obviously got what she went in for. She obviously wanted to like add a bit of like sauce to her name, add a little bit of like, you know, an extra zero to her booking fee, and
Just 1-0.
and she's done that now. So
What I will say, it takes a lot of. I know we talk about.
I wonder who's going to get nerve in the Cunt Awards.
I know we talk about self-awareness a lot, but I feel like Ginny was very self-aware in that moment. This is not for me. I've done what I feel I'm capable of doing, and instead of taking up someone else's space, I'm going to leave the best way I know how to leave, which is on my own terms. And she left when she wanted to leave, and we all know Rue does not like when a girl leaves before Rue can tell you to leave. So it'll be interesting seeing how
The edit made it look really strange as well,
Yeah.
because it made it look as if like Rue was like because he like it kind of like went like
like Rue was okay with it.
like he was like giggling and laughing with Michelle about it, and I was like,
That's not Rue.
that's a reshoot.
Yeah.
That has not been. That's
That's like the seventh
bitch, that's
take.
CGI. They got in Melania's double to take that bit. That wasn't Rue.
So in the end, Ginny decided to go, and it's
Bye.
Au revoir, sayonara.
So long, farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen, adieu, adieu, adieu. She went salty.
Exit stage left.
Or backstage. Oh yeah, she went backstage and turned left. Genius.
So we are at that very special point in the show where we are joined by our very special drag guest, and this week's episode we have the very special
Who is that?
Kiki. Do you love me? Hey girl, hey!
Hey, Kiki.
Oh, look at these tits! Wow.
Hey. Oh, don't you just love them? Thank you for having me.
Well, the season is now 4 episodes in. What are we thinking of the season so far?
Oh, this season is A1. I definitely feel like it's a step up from the first season, as like that one was just very, it felt like slapdash and quick and rushed because it's like the first of Drag Race UK. This one, the queens are sickening, the look so far, like I'm so here for it,
So, who are your favourites in the main challenge? Who stood out for you, and who were the worst?
I would have to say my faves would be Bimini and Taste. They're my girls, but I mean, in this challenge, they definitely stepped up to what they had as like the drunk girls. Bimini having the card upside down, I think that was genius. That just made so much sense, but still pretending to read it. And you can see that they bounced off each other very well, and like they worked together. Also, faves, hands down Boots, they did it so well. Tiara Coffee and Ahora, I think they a match that you didn't even see coming and worked so well together. Exuberated ethics. So I mean, yeah, for my faves, them two. Worst, hands down Boots. it had to be Veronica and Sister. Sister. I'm so sorry, girls. But I mean, like, we all saw it. We all saw the episode. Went down, got worse, didn't do very well. And I feel like they kind of clashed a bit. Instead of it like being, oh, someone's falling, let me pick you up. And it wasn't very much that. So it was like,
So we get to Runway, which is the best part of the show, obviously. Who was your favourite and who was your worst?
Oh, Monster Mash runway faves. I would say my fave for this runway would have to be probably Miss Redemption of Veronica Green. I liked the whole snakes for hair, and it was like quite high. And like the pig nose, like the pig face, that was really well done. Also, obviously, loved my girl Taze. That dress was gorge, like the bigness of it. Ahora looked sickening. Bimini as a nice little bunny of demon. A demon bunny of Satan. I think that was cute. They all looked good. And Tia as well, she did well in that. But fave, I'd have to say was Veronica. Just sheer fact of hair and face and my worst for me, I would have to say, is Ginny Lemon. That was just very, nah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just a yellow, toxic, like covered in toxic kind of thing. There wasn't really much to it, like the other girls gave. They all looked sickening, including Ginny. But, I mean, when it comes down to what's going on now and how far we are in the competition and what's happening, babe, step it up.
And if you would have done this challenge, what would you have worn?
If I was to do the Monster Mash look, it sounds like it would be quite simple, but I mean, the look would be sickening. It'd be like very vampirous witch kind of, like voodoo high priestess kind of look. So like a voodoo doll mixed with vamp, so a whole lot of blood, witchy, so it's like dark and cinched waist, tits out, slightly ratchet and cute. Kind of like a mixture of Taste's dress and Ahora's look, where it's like nice cinched waist, poofy but short and asymmetric and yeah, a whole lot of blood because I'm obsessed with vampires and witches. That's right, it'll be a voodoo vamp high priestess, if that makes any sense.
And lastly, who are we rooting for? Who is your number one?
Would love to see Bimini take it, and shout out to my East London queens. And Taste, obviously, she is my bougie sis from the jump of when I started bougie. Yeah, those three girls, all of them are doing, like all the queens are doing so sickening, but yeah, they are my top girls.
Well, thank you very much for joining us this week, Kiki. Those were all fantastic points. If people wanted to find you on Instagram or any other socials, where can they find you? And do you have anything to plug?
Plug away.
Thank you for having me. I am on Instagram under Kiki Snatch. That's KIKISNATCH. Instagram, just said that. Twitter is the same, and I'm also on TikTok. There's 2 H's at the end of Kiki Snatch, so be sure to check that out. I'm only just starting that up. But I mean, that is me.
Thank you so much for joining us. That was amazing. And speak to you soon, girl.
Thanks,
Peace.
boo. Bye.
Bye.
Now, peeps, is the only time of the episode that I really care about. It's time for awards, where we give out charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent to some ungrateful
I'll say it
bitch.
again. I wonder who's gonna get nervous every day.
So, Charmisma.
Charisma.
Who Charmisma
I'm
this week?
I'm gonna give it to your favorite. I'm gonna give it to Ahora.
Oh.
I think that she really showed like a different side to herself in that challenge this week, and was very charismatic. And I also liked her vulnerability when she like owned up for her shit. Personally, I know it's not a mutual view, but that is my view and my view alone. How about you, girl?
And you stay on that
Shut
island
up and just say
alone.
yours.
Castaway. My choice,
Wilson!
my choice for Charmisma was Bimini this week. Bitch stood out. She made me laugh. She was warm, engaging.
Are you describing her pussy or?
I'm describing every orifice
It was
of her
warm
body.
and engaging.
Next award, uniqueness.
Ooh.
Hit me.
Maybe one more time.
I was thinking Destiny shall lose my breath, but
Oh, that.
it goes to show white, black. You do what you only know what you know. I gave mine to Veronica
Okay.
for the runway and the runway alone, because that look, again, I did not expect that from Veronica. It was unique, mixing Medusa with a pig, something that I would never imagine.
Medusa?
And the way the execution of the whole look, I don't know why I did that.
It was so
The
calm, I liked it.
execution was amazing. So Veronica, you get uniqueness.
What's all this handography that we're doing? I'm going to give mine to, surprisingly enough, and it's probably Vain God's first. Might give it to Tia this week
Okay.
because I really liked her kind of like take on Medusa, the kind of voodoo high priestess vibe, and also it was the best that she's looked the entire episode.
Next up is Nerve.
Nerve.
Who had the nerve to fuck someone off this week? And there's only one bitch that can take Nerve.
I think the best way that I can express it is not by telling you,
By
but
showing me your hairy asshole.
by showing you.
1 hour later.
So I guess we're giving Nerve to Ginny Lemon. then.
Well, 100%. I don't think anybody else could like.
No one will top that. And no one wants to top that either. So Ginny Lemon, you get Nerve.
Nerve.
All the nerve. A stadium full of nerve. And last but not least, talent. Who put the T in cunt this week?
Ooh.
I'm gonna go first because I'm gonna say something nice. I picked Ahora. For me, Ahora really did.
Yay! Sparkle!
Actually, I'd like to retract my
Oh,
vote.
shut up and just be nice.
Ahora really shone this week and really like committed 110% to the character. It's a shame she didn't get a win for it because I feel like she deserved a win just based on the challenge alone. Maybe next week will be her week or the week after that or the week after that, or maybe she won't ever win. Who knows? But
Or maybe she won't win one challenge and win the whole thing. Imagine.
Goops in the show. But this week, Ahora's talent really shone, so she gets talent.
Am I allowed to give?
No, she'll throw that.
Okay. I'm gonna give my talent to Bimini then. So kind of like a switch of our uniquenesses and our talents. I liked her characterization of her character in the challenge, and she was funny. So I would say if I could have picked Ahora again, I would have picked her for this because I do think that she was the star of this episode. However,
challenge, yes.
Shut up. Well, that is the end of the award season for this week. We'll see you next week to snatch those trophies back.
So that's it for this week, people. We hope you enjoyed the episode as much as we did. I hope we gave you food for thought.
We did not
Sometimes it's
promise that we
okay.
were always going to get on.
Sometimes it's okay to not agree with someone, and that's fine. The best thing to do when you don't agree, talk it out, and then whoop his ass when no one's looking. So I have my belt ready, and Cal's gonna run for his life. With that being said,
What in the...
with that being said, thank you for joining us. I will say, happy birthday, Cal.
This has actually been a very special episode because it has been my birthday episode. I'm actually being such a professional and working on my birthday.
And if you want to guess Cal's age in the comments below, the right
Also,
guess.
if you want to tip me as a gift for my birthday, I will put my PayPal in the description below. Thanks!
yeah, if you want to guess Cal's age, the best guess, the funniest guess,
Gets a shout out.
gets a shout out. So if you want to aim for 60 and over, perfect.
Steve, they're not guessing your age.
Okay, realistically, 40 and over.
Steve, they're not
That
guessing
would
your
be
weight.
perfect. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
You come for me, I come for you. Okay, thanks
Thanks
guys.
for watching. We love
Bye.
you. Till next week.